Now we're live.
Olá, Tristan. Hi, Tristan.
Hi,
Ehm,
Susanna.
eu vou fazer algumas questões aqui ao nosso orador principal neste workshop que vai acontecer nos dias 13, 14 e 15 de novembro no Porto com um convidado de Silicon Valley que se chama Tristan Kromer. Um, Tristan, I'm going to ask you um, first. How do you define lean startup?
So Lean Startup is a set of principles and a practice around taking a very complex idea and figuring out where are the risky parts in it. So what are the things that could potentially kill this business? If we're going to create a wonderful company, we have to have certain elements like customers and a value proposition. And as entrepreneurs, it behooves us to identify what are the dangers here? What are the things that might stop this business from working? Lean startups is a simple way of saying, well, I don't know everything. Okay, there are elements of this business that are unknown, that are risky to me, and therefore I need to go and investigate that. So Lean Startup is a way of learning what we don't know and de-risking our business by systematically investigating and experimenting and learning about who our customers are, what will make them happy, what makes them passionate, what value proposition will really cause them to take out their wallet and pay.
So you are saying that Lean Startup is a scientific approach to entrepreneurship. Yes?
Exactly. So it's the process of creating a hypothesis. You have an idea. You believe that this customer segment will be very interested in music that will make your dogs calm down. Something like this could be anything. Could be anything from high technology to a better smelling cat litter. So you have a hypothesis about this, and you believe it's true, and that's your vision of the world. But you need to investigate and experiment with this before you launch your product and all of your life savings into it.
And you think in a workshop of 3 days, you can explain and experiment this scientific approach to entrepreneurship here in Portugal?
Yeah, 3 days is actually a very long time for us. So here in Silicon Valley, we see that over a weekend, products are created from just an idea. Products are created that actually have paying customers by the end of the weekend. So we have these hackathons very frequently. They're called Startup Weekends. Sometimes they're called Lean Startup Machine, Angel Hack. There are all these different events that in 3 days actually create a product. What's a little bit different about this workshop is that we're going to be doing a little bit more teaching in it to explore different methods. In a typical hackathon, you just do whatever you can. There's not too much facilitation in terms of techniques, how to find the customers, how to run the experiments, and so on. So in this workshop, we'll be slightly more structured, and we're going to go through the different techniques that you can use to find customers, to evaluate their needs and goals, and ultimately to build a product that satisfies them. So we expect by the end of this workshop that people actually go out and talk to customers, that they understand their customer needs, but we're not expecting them to actually build the product by the end of the 3 days.
Tristan?
Yes, still there?
Are you following me?
Yes.
And another question that I would like to ask is this workshop that we are going to do is not for startup target. We want executive people that already run the companies, and we want to bring the startup approach into these companies. So could you please tell to these targets how can they be more productive if they want to assist to this workshop?
Sure. So yes, it's right. This workshop is primarily focused on what we would call entrepreneurship as opposed to entrepreneurship. But startups can happen anywhere. They can happen, they happen with small teams of 2 or 3 people out in the world, entrepreneurs, but they also happen inside of large companies. Inside of large companies, there are very often small, innovative teams that are trying to create a new product, that have been tasked to create a prototype and establish whether or not there's market demand. And those companies can operate in much the same way that a normal external tech startup might work. There are some differences in the environment, and those are some of the things that we're going to address in the workshop, because there are certain extra hurdles, barriers to innovation that sometimes exist within corporations that don't necessarily exist for just typical entrepreneurs. Some of those things might be that the legal department does not want the company to offer something that is not a fully functional product. There might be legal liabilities. If the company is in the medtech or financial industry, there might be government regulations that apply to that larger organization that may not even be relevant for the innovative product, but still they have to obey to those regulations because it's contained within a larger organization. And then there are other typical things like simply corporate politics, cultural issues as to whether or not it's okay or it's safe to risk creating a new product. So many of these things can be dealt with, and we've seen wonderful examples of this at Intuit, and Intuit has an Innovation Catalyst program, GE has its FastWorks program. I'm working with Swisscom to help their teams innovate faster. We've seen even large corporate giants like Pitney Bowes, which is kind of famously sluggish, but they are also making steps towards implementing lean startup techniques. And of course, at the mid-range, we have companies like Kiva and StumbleUpon and Just Answers, just a range of companies applying lean startup techniques successfully to help them innovate faster. And that's what we'd really like to achieve, because ultimately, our generation and the next generation, the value that we see being created is being created by innovation. And whether that's in a startup outside, an entrepreneurship startup, or whether that's a startup inside a corporation, all these things are what propel us forward as a society and help us solve many of the problems that we see when we walk out on the street. So this is what I'm very excited about, is the ability to have that impact, the ability to help corporate teams move forward, the ability to help startup teams move forward.
Okay. So another question is necessary to participate with an idea, or you can discover the idea when you are in the workshop?
So it's a much better idea to come. It's better to come with an idea. First of all, it's more fun. Second of all, if you come without an idea, then I will give you an idea. We will give you a sample idea that I'm familiar with that you can work on through the week to talk to customers and see if it's a good idea. It's better to come with your own idea because it's something you're a little bit more passionate about and it's a little bit more real. Because one of the hurdles we have to get over is the possibility that our idea is not very good. So
Okay.
we need, in Lean Startup, we need to go out and test our idea with real people. And to understand that it's very painful when you talk to customers and they tell you, well, or they basically are just disinterested in that idea. They don't care. Even if you have a wonderful technology in mind and the customer just doesn't care, this is very painful to us as entrepreneurs and just as people. You can come without an idea, and I can give you a sample idea, but you won't understand the same impact and go through the same difficulties of having to throw that idea away and start over if the customer says that they're not interested or refuses to pay.
Okay. To finish, I know you came to Europe regularly to do this kind of workshop, but could you say to us, this executive program makes any difference in Portugal? What you could say about it?
Do you mean how will it impact the ecosystem in Portugal?
Yes, I know you in Portugal have have a little knowledge about the ecosystem of entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
More about Netherlands, London, Berlin, Norway.
Yeah.
But do you think when you are in these countries, you in sometimes you hear about Portugal that we have some kind of engineers that are good, that we are creative or not. Um, and I think this executive program could be a plus in Portugal to make the difference in all the methodologies that we have nowadays in entrepreneurship. Or do you have an opinion about that?
I have really the most broad opinion. So I know a little bit about Portugal because, of course, I know you, and I know I have colleagues like Francisco who visits there very frequently, and I know that there are some lean startup groups that are operating there. But many of the problems seem like the similar problems that we see in other locations. Obviously, similar to Spain, Italy, even Sweden, and Norway. Many different countries that things are happening faster. Right? So the average lifespan of the company in the Fortune 500 is declining every year. New companies are billion-dollar companies are being created with increased frequency, and the speed at which a company becomes a billion-dollar company is incredibly fast. And so all these trends, in addition with the legacy of the last financial crisis and the very high unemployment rates. I believe Portugal has something like 14% unemployment right now. Is that correct? A
Less,
little
the
less.
number indicates
Excellent.
less.
So we know we have these issues, and we know that the only way to get out of them is not going to be to sit and wait for things to magically improve. We have to innovate our way out of this. Even Norway, with its vast oil wealth, if you go to Norway right now and you talk to a taxi driver and you ask him what is the #1 challenge of Norway right now, that taxi driver will probably tell you, well, we need to innovate because we're running out of oil. Okay, business models are changing. So I do believe that the new paradigm is based in innovation, and lean startup means innovation at a rapid pace. So this sort of training program is something which I think is critical. I mean, and I hope that there will be many more workshops, not just ones that I do, but I hope that you will see Eric Ries going there and Alexander Osterwalder from Switzerland. There's many different techniques and methods that we can use, and we need to have, as again, entrepreneurs or intramers, we need to have a very broad toolbox of techniques and methods that we can use to understand how to create customer value and really cause innovation to flourish. So I do think it's something that's very important for Portugal and, in fact, for the world.
Okay. So do you have to finish, any suggestion to participants to attend this workshop?
My best suggestion would be to come with a very open mind, to come with an idea that you have, to come willing to share your experiences, because that's also very important. We all have to understand that I am not the expert in your business. I'm not the expert in Portugal, okay, but I can help show you the techniques to discover the right customer, the right value proposition, the right channel. But ultimately, people have to share their own expertise on a peer-to-peer basis. And I would ask all the participants coming to the workshop to be prepared to come and share openly what's been working, what hasn't worked inside their own corporation. And that's the way that we will move forward as a group most of all. So come open, come willing to share, come willing to participate, and all of your fears, all of your anxieties about not finding customers or not being willing to talk to them, just forget about those, leave those outside.
Ok, thank you very much, Tristan. Muito obrigada, Tristan, por esta entrevista.
Okay, thank you very much.